you're in between a town of 13,000 and 25,000. So this is where it's located. I thought was interesting too is that look how big Fort Drum is compared to Watertown, you know, so 24,000 people are here. But what I thought was interesting too is that look how big Fort Drum is compared to Watertown, you know, so 24,000 people are here. I wonder how many people are in Fort Drum. Let's see. Let's see how many Fort Drum population. 13,000. Okay, so they just got a lot of space is what they got. So essentially they're in, but you're in between a town of 13,000 and 25,000. Okay, is where it is, right? And then there's little tiny towns around here. But yeah, so this is where it's located. And then also another thing is he was telling us, because we were talking about snow. I mean, obviously it snows up here because it's like, you know, it's upstate New York, so they get snow. But he was saying that they don't really get as much snow as they do down here because there's some sort of something with the atmosphere and the whatchamacallit, I don't know. Anyways, so like the wind or whatever off of the water of the lake and stuff. So he was like, he's like, you'd think we get a lot of snow, but we really don't. But he said that during the winter, he does snow plow probably like throughout the whole winter, this past winter, because he does it himself, right? Because he lives like right in that area. So he said that last winter he probably went like between 20 and 25 times to snow plow the facility. So you just have to know that in this area, it's going to cost some money to snow plow, right? Now, it's just like the same thing like down where we have in Georgia, you know, all of our facilities in Georgia, we got a lot of grass. So we may not be snow plowing, but we are mowing. Right. So you've got the expense. It's just part of the expense. And you just make sure that, you know, you can afford it. And then we were asking, well, how much is it going to cost us to snow plow this thing? And he said about $5,000 a year is what it's going to cost. That was what his guess was. So it's not really too bad because, you know, if you think about it, we're paying like anywhere from $200 to $300. I would say probably around $300 a month, I would say, to get our properties mowed every month, right? Like twice a month. And it's costing us probably about 150. Sometimes we have one that's costing us a couple $100 because there's a lot of grass and stuff, but typically $150 every time somebody goes out to mow the lawn, clean it up and stuff. That's like $300 a month. So that's $3,600 a month. So it's kind of like the same thing. I think snow plowing is going to be the same thing as mowing. Okay. All right. Okay, all right. So that's my 2 cents on that. Okay, so now let me just go into the folder. Okay, so now the way that I teach my students, the way I'm teaching you guys is that, you know, you need to use some sort of like an online way to store your documents and stuff, because the truth is that all the information that you need in order to make a decision on whether or not the deal is a good deal is the same exact information that your lender is going to need if you need to get financing for the deal. And also if you're wholesaling deal, it's the same exact information that your buyer is going to need, right? So we're essentially wholesaling this deal is what we're doing. And so, but all this information that you see in this folder, I mean, every folder here is everything that I need to know in order to make a decision on whether or not it's a good deal. Okay, now, so, you know, that that means that you need to have deal analysis, right? The deal, now you're looking at the numbers and seeing if, you know, the numbers are good. That's like a big part of it. But the truth of the matter is that there's just so much more to looking at a deal. Like I get emailed almost, I definitely on a weekly basis, but almost like, you know, every couple of days, I'll just get some random person that's like, hey, here's this address. Is it a good deal, you know, or whatever. And I'm like, it don't work like that, buddy. You know, you have to really analyze the deal in order to know if it's a good one or not. You know, so now you can do some quick calculations, right? You know, I know typically how much everything costs, but you know, I can get a good idea on what it's going to cost based on how much income they have and then like what the square footage is. But the truth is that looking at the overall picture is really going to help you decide if it's a good deal or not, right? So like looking at your 3, 5, and 10 mile radius populations, you saw me pulling up population. Population is a key point in determining the factor on what the price of the facility is going to be and what the cap rate of the facility is going to be. Right. So so we need, like, we need to know population. So this is a very important thing to me, and I'm asking my students all the time and my virtual assistants, what's the population of this town, so that I can get an idea. Is it a tertiary market, is it a secondary market, or is it a primary market? Right. And then based on the type of facility that it is, going to determine what your cap rate is. Okay, so that's why they have the population here. And then we also have the competition. All of the competition within a certain radius is going into this folder, because you need to really, you do a competitive analysis, because the competitive analysis, what it does is it gives you an idea of what the opportunity of the deal could be. Okay, so if you're not looking at your competition, how are you know what you're going to be able to get your rates to? How are you going to know what your competition is doing? What cells are they doing? Do they use dynamic pricing or not? I mean, are they mom and pop? Are they not mom and, are they not, So really understanding competition. And I tell my students all the time, like, driving for storage equals market research. So getting out and really looking at the types of facilities that are in the areas that you're interested in is really going to educate you. Really understanding what your competition looks like is really going to educate you and help you make a better analysis of your data. Okay, so we have competition. We also have the county info. The county info is like your property report card. Okay, this is what it's called. It's called property report card. And you just go to the county site and you can pull up the property report card of every single property out there, and they'll give you, like, what the taxes are, what the square footage is, what the acreage is, what the history, the sales history. It's really like everything that's ever happened to this property since it's built is inside your county website, and that is called the property report card. Okay. And then we have the DIL analyzer, and I'll show you that here. That's running the DIL analysis. We have the demographics, right? So what's the household income? What does the area look like? Is it low income, high, middle? What is the demographic? So we're looking at that as well too. Who's going to be renting? Is it all military? Is it going to be a lot of military or not a lot of military? So that's demographics. And then the documents from the owner is like, okay, now, because we have this one under contract. So did we get tax returns? Did we get any, reports from any of the softwares that they use? Did we get financials? Do we get P&Ls and balance sheets or whatever it is? And I'll show you what we got from the owner. But this is where we just kind of, once we get it under contract, we start getting all that information, and then we just go through it. Okay. Now, the executive summary, this is a report where you put together, and it's like a couple of pages, and it gives you a synopsis. In fact, everything from every single folder is put into the executive summary. So then that way, the person that looks at this deal, whether it's me or like the buyer or a student or whoever it is, just opens up the executive summary, and everything that you need is right there. And so that way you don't have to go through every single one of the folders to see what the deal's about. All right.
Hey everybody, this is Stacy here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am here to teach you how to get your foot into this industry. You're watching this video because you want to learn how to get started in self-storage investing, or maybe you own facilities and you want to be a better manager, a better owner. That is what I do, is I teach people how to do that. So please like this video and also subscribe, hit the subscribe button, because that's what YouTube wants. So in order for me to get out the word on how to get started in this industry, I really need your help. Again, I appreciate you listening to me, and I'm here to help you on this journey, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.